because traveling for work, yeah, it's cool, but the best type of travel is leisure travel. Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. If you're new, welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below as well as the little bell so you'll get a notification every time I post a new video. So I am back from Bali, of course, as you guys can tell, obviously. So with that being said, I'm still in the travel vibe. I had such a wonderful time. If you guys have not caught up on all of my travel vlogs from my time in Bali, be sure to do that. I will have some of them linked in the card section. If not, I do have a travel playlist so you guys can check out all of those vlogs as well. So I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about how I actually plan my trips, and since I'm getting back from Bali, I figured this would be a good time to sit down and talk to you guys about that using Bali as an example. So I got a lot of questions and DMs while I was traveling asking people, how did I book this trip? How have I booked trips in the past? So I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about kind of my tips and tricks and the ins and outs when it comes to travel. So this doesn't necessarily have to just be for international travel. You can use these tips whether you're doing domestic travel or whether you're doing international travel. So I have traveled abroad numerous times. So if you guys are new to my channel, you might not know that, but I have gone overseas quite a bit ever since I was a child. So anywhere from Italy, Spain, France, London, Brazil, just all over. I do utilize these tips very, very frequently. I've traveled quite a bit within the US as well. Anyway, okay, so when it comes to travel, especially if you're doing leisure travel, which is what we're talking about, because traveling for work, yeah, it's cool, but the best type of travel is leisure travel. We're talking about vacation, holiday travel. So the number one thing, in my opinion, that's the hardest is picking the destination. So once you have gotten that out of the way, this is where all of these steps come into play. So every once in a while, I will refer back to my trip to Bali because this is the most recent international travel that I've done so far this year. So I'll refer back to that trip just to kind of plug in bits and pieces so everything makes sense. So picking the destination is the number one thing that I think is the hardest when it comes to travel. So once I decided on a destination, my best friend and I, you guys know I traveled with Fatima. So once we got that out of the way, I was like, okay, bam, booked, boom, we know where we're going. The best thing to do once you have an outline and an idea of where you want to go, you need to decide when to go. So you need to start your research. You need to figure out when is the best time to go. So you need to figure out, are there dry seasons? Are there wet seasons? When are you wanting to travel? So when it comes to doing your research, I like to look at things such as Condé Nast Travel. I like to look at forums on TripAdvisor, and I also like to utilize Facebook. And a lot of people would think, okay, well, Facebook, I'm only communicating with family and friends. No, Facebook is an excellent tool to use and find groups. So I found an excellent group called Bali Life, and I joined the group. It takes about 24 hours before you're accepted because they have to make sure that you're not trying to like spam. So it was a great group to join because I was able to look at a lot of people's posts within the group, a lot of people that are there right now, a lot of people that have traveled there. I was able to add posts to the group, ask questions. So this all goes into the research process when you know that there is a destination that you want to travel to further. Now we're going to decide, okay, we know where we're going, we know when we want to go. Now, how are we going to get there and where are we going to stay? So that's when we move into the second category of airfare and lodging. Now, for me, every time I book travel, I've always done it myself. I've never ever utilized a travel agent. If that's something that you want to do, fine, kudos to you. But I always feel like I can do better for me. So when it comes to airfare, a lot of times I like to open up separate browsers or separate pages on my computer. And what I like to do is compare. And I never book my airfare right away. I'll have Expedia open and I will compare options from multiple airports that are close by. So for me, I live in a state where I have two airports that are within 20 minutes of one another. So I will always compare prices of each one of those airports and see which one is looking like they have the better flight options, including layovers, as well as the better flight deals. I also go directly to the airline website. So if I want to fly Delta, I'll go directly to Delta because I have SkyMiles, so I try to usually only fly with Delta or their partners so I can accumulate those continued SkyMiles. When it comes to lodging as well, you have to kind of weigh the pros and cons. Where are you wanting to stay when you go to this destination? Are you traveling to a tropical destination, i.e. like I went to Bali? So I had to think about, okay, where do I want to stay? So for prime example, we stayed in a villa. So I knew I didn't want to bundle my airfare and my lodging. So I did that separately. Now for you, if you're watching and you're wanting to go to maybe like Cancun or Riviera Maya, you could possibly bundle your airfare and your lodging by getting maybe like a resort, and you could bundle that. But you have to kind of keep in mind and think about your budget and what it is you're wanting to do. Also, don't forget to use your Ebates Chrome extension because you can get cash back on these travels. The way Ebates work, when you get your travel cash back, you don't get it till after the completion of your travel. But I still recommend you use Ebates. So another thing I recommend with lodging is make sure you're always checking out reviews. So make sure you're always utilizing something like Yelp or Google reviews or TripAdvisor. Just make sure you're looking at the ratings, looking at the reviews that other guests have left for you about the lodging. The one thing about Airbnb, you have to be careful because all you can do is put in the destination and the location where you want to have the lodging, but you don't get the address of the villa or the location. But you don't get the address of the place that you're booking until it's booked, paid for, and the host sends you the address. So I knew I wanted something in central Bali, Seminyak area. So I was just hoping it was going to be a nice location after it was booked. So we were basically going off reviews and photos. Once we were able to get the specific address, I did type it in Google Maps. I did the aerial view and I was like, okay, this looks like a good spot. So another thing to touch on airfare really quick, just to go back, what I like to do as well, because like I said, I don't book my airfare right off the gate. I like to compare and contrast. Like I said, I have those multiple browsers open. Be careful when you are looking at airfare every single day from your computer because it stores up those cookies. So a lot of times you can browse incognito, so your cookies aren't stored and your computer isn't memorizing and remembering, hey, they're looking at airfare every day. Let's throw out ads. Let's jack up prices because they're looking at airfare every day. So we know they're wanting to travel soon. Also, another good thing that I like to use are the airfare watching apps. I personally use Hopper. So I'm currently already watching a flight. And right now it is telling me that this is the current lowest price per traveler and that I should keep watching this trip, but I should at least book before September 3rd. So of course, we're going on vacation. You want to do a lot of fun activities. There's always that question of, should I exchange money in my home country? Should I exchange money while I'm there? My motto is always look at the exchange rate. I decided to exchange money in my home country before I went to Bali because I wanted a little bit of foreign currency in my pocket when I landed, just because my flight was landing so late. We landed at like midnight and I didn't want to be worried about trying to find the ATM and do all this stuff, and we had a private driver picking us up and it was just going to be so late. So think about your circumstances, and then also as far as activities and things like that you want to do for fun, also think about your circumstances. So if you're booking some type of nice, fun resort vacation, a lot of them have resort credits for their guests and they have nice camaraderies already built up with local tours in the area. So that's something you could ask, the resort, and then you could book packages and activities while you're there. Now, if you're not doing anything like that and you're flying straight to your destination, once again, how I flew straight to Bali, then you might want to look online at some place like TripAdvisor and look for local tours. A few of them you can book ahead of time just so you can kind of map out an itinerary. And then you can also save space in your itinerary and find local tours when you're there and possibly even get, you know, a nice price for the tour or something that was kind of off the beaten path, so to speak, that not all tourists are going to be aware of. So I hope this video has been super helpful, especially as you plan your next trip or think about your next vacation. Please let me know your thoughts and comments in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already. And as always, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys!